Hi, I'm gonna read my poem. Actually, it's not a poem. It's like a story. I really don't know what it's called, but those are my dogs barking. So that's what you hear in the background. Okay, here we go. We had something special. I mean, that's what they all say in the beginning. You spend so much time building up a city, sit on a bench, and realize, well, shit, the lights are blinding. And that's what happens. People spend so much time creating what they think they want. When they're stuck with it, they close their eyes the entire time in disappointment. Here we are, sitting on a park bench, wishing we lived somewhere in the country where we could actually see the sky, touch it, taste it. We wanted more, but we stayed quiet. Mostly we wanted different, but instead we started apologizing. You apologized for everything under the sun. The way you clicked your gum when you were bored, how you talked to yourself when you were stressed, the way you walked further ahead than me. You were hurrying ahead of me, and I never understood where you were trying to go, but I knew it was away from here. I wanted to say something, anything, to break up the monotony of the silence that enveloped us, but I stayed quiet. I didn't want to argue, just scream. I want to go home, you finally said one evening. I hate these damn lights. I can't sleep knowing the city is awake. I wanted to remind you that you had insomnia, that if we lived in the country and the world fell asleep as we laid our heads on our pillows, you'd still never be able to sleep. You'd probably say the silence was too loud. I could never win with you. We created something so electric, so terrifying that you were closing your eyes the entire time. Your eyes through it all. If I can't see her, she can't see me, right? Not. I saw you. I witnessed your every move, but I stayed quiet. I let you pack your things into boxes without question. I let you fall asleep on the couch for weeks. I just can't sleep. You breathe too loud, you'd say. I felt a scream inside me. Insomnia! You had insomnia! And of course, I was breathing loudly. I was dreaming of drowning. And you were the ocean. And that's how it started feeling from then on. I wondered where home was for you. With your parents? Where they could tell you about all the wonderful things you could have done. I knew that wasn't it. But I also knew home wasn't here either. In this city with 1,000 stories, in this city that never sleeps, in this city where things are always happening, I began wondering what I didn't know about you. But I began wondering mostly what I didn't want to know. How when you can't sleep, you sigh and toss and turn, toss, turn, sigh, toss, turn, sigh, sigh, sigh again. I sat on a park bench alone this time, staring at the billboards. I closed my eyes and gulped. I tried to forget the awful color of the boxes that surrounded my home. I tried not to think about the way you forgot to say goodbye. I wondered what you saw when you closed your eyes. Because I saw lights, and I smiled. Because you hated the lights here, I began to love them. I began to love crowds and small rooms just out of spite. I started opening my eyes, asking questions, speaking out when I agreed with something, speaking up, especially when I didn't. Insomnia wasn't contagious, but I think you gave me every symptom. My doctor told me to lay back on the coffee, maybe take NyQuil if I got worse. How was I supposed to pinpoint when I would miss you, though? I couldn't. I reached for the phone before I could find the NyQuil. Dialed your number. Like riding a bike, it's something you don't forget. I winced as it rang. I shuddered when you answered. I had so much to say. I had rehearsed this. Hello? I felt my bones realign into the way they were when you fell in love with me. Perfect form to fit in beside you in bed without disturbing you. Perfect form to hold your hand without getting too close. A perfect structure to love you without saying much of anything. I gulped. I wasn't at a loss for words. Words were at a loss for me. I reminded myself this. I wasn't at a loss for you. You were at a loss for me. Hello? Who is this? I don't think either of us have an idea. When someone is quiet with you, you begin to memorize their voice. You didn't have to love me to know what my voice sounded like. You had to love me in order to listen to me. There's a difference. You sighed. Oh, you shithead. There was a sigh on the end of the line, and I thought about the way you do this when you couldn't sleep. Toss, turn, sigh, sigh again, toss, turn, sigh. I hated it, like you hated the bright lights in the city. If you don't need anything, then stop bothering me. I shivered at the harshness of your voice and sighed myself. I started from the beginning, and screams echoed throughout my home. I went on and on and on and on and on about everything I had ever suppressed until I heard the dullness of a dial tone mimicking me. I pressed end. That's when everything went quiet. You hated noisy, crowded rooms, the city, the bright lights, now me. You had it all wrong, though. Because here I am in the middle of a city that never sleeps, at the nights and listening to the voices around me. I wanted to hear everyone's story, but all I could hear was your voice telling me to stop bothering you. Your harsh tone, the way it cut through the silence of your small home in the country. I bet you can't sleep there either. I bet you blame it on the crickets being too loud or the moon being too bright. I was drowning and you were sighing over and over again as if to say, great, another mess to clean up. Just so you know, you have insomnia. Just so you know, I can swim. Just so you know, there's a difference between listening and hearing. We choose what we hear. Just so you know, there's a difference between looking and seeing. You can choose what you see. You can't keep your eyes shut for months and expect them to be accustomed to the bright lights when you decide to open them. And just so you know, I'm a hurricane, you shithead.